All right, good morning, guys. What's going on? It's Friday, March 29th here. Quick sound check, make sure you guys can hear me. Sound check 1, 2, make sure the chat pops out here. And all right. All right, sound check 1, 2. Looks like I'm on. All right, guys. So taking a look here, first thing, we got some nice action kind of coming out in the overnight session here so far. Crude oil up $1.20 here. Gold up about $7.30 there. Nice action coming out of the markets here overall. So S&P's, Nasdaq pushing through their levels. So I think we're going to have a little bit of a fun day here. And let's see here. Can you guys hear me? Nobody's saying anything. Oh, perfect. All right, cool. I don't know. Maybe this didn't go public. Doesn't look like it. Oops. Oh well. We'll run with it. All right, so took a look at the Forex Factory calendar here, and it doesn't look like there's anything really too pressing here on the day. There's some Parliament Brexit vote at some point today. I want to say someone typed it in the chat that it was happening at like 2:30 or something over there. So if you're trading the Forex markets, keep an eye on that. It may have an impact on us, potentially on gold, but otherwise not really something that I'm going to be paying too much attention to. With that, I want to take a look here at the four main indices that we've got, and then obviously gold and crude oil here. I almost took a trade this morning on crude oil when it was down under 60 bucks for a breakout there, which would have been a really nice looking trade. That's funny, man. You gotta catch up. 2019, Bubba. Austin, Texas, getting to you, huh? But anyway, so I want to jump in. We're running into targets here so far already today. Oh, Dallas, I forgot. My bad. See, you're supposed to be in Austin. Austin's where it's happening right now. All right, so taking a look at the S&Ps here, we had levels that we were looking to trade up into 28.26s and 28.30 quarters here. And so far, we're gapping up this morning. We're trading right at 28.35.50 so far on the day. So we're actually clearing both of those areas of resistance, turning them into support here on the gap up this morning. So my game plan for today is going to be really, really simple. I'm looking for pullbacks to 28.30 quarters for buying opportunities. That's going to have targets up here into 28.45.50s. And I was listening to a little bit of Perry this morning, and he said he had a micro level up here, I want to say right around 46s. Some small levels at 42s, and then up into 46s as well there. So that level is going to line up with what Perry's looking for. And I think that's going to be a trade that sets up here kind of first thing this morning. We may get a little bit of a push higher right at the open. As long as we don't trade up into 28.45 quarters first, then I'll be looking to buy that pullback to 28.30 quarters, and that gives us a 15-point target for this trade. So I really like the risk-reward ratio there in the S&Ps with a 15-point target intraday here. And then again, I think, like I've been saying, this daily or this hourly downtrend that led us into a daily buy setup is now failing here on the downtrend for the hourly, and we've now reversed that and turned back into an hourly uptrend here. So Going to continue to look for higher prices out of these markets. That's included across the board here. We've got a really nice like 50-point range, a little over 50-point range so far this week on the Russell. And that thing is going to continue, I think, today, powering higher off of the crude oil news. So if we're looking across the board there's nothing really standing out today like there has been the past few days. So I think any of the markets that you picked to trade are going to be a solid choice. We've got S&P's up 0.51%, Nasdaq up 0.57%, Russell here up 0.60, and the Dow up 0.57. So they're all within 0.10% of each other, with the largest disparity coming between the Russell and the S&Ps. Nothing there kind of stands out where one's up 0.25% and the other ones are up 1%. So there's no kind of laggard or leader here in this pack. So I think any of the markets that you choose today are going to be solid movers in the same direction. So moving over into the Nasdaq here. Nasdaq here has got levels at 73, 88, 75s. We traded those in the pre-market session here. Those were the targets we were looking for from yesterday's trade, kind of running up here. That got trailed out prior to getting that and never actually ended up getting those levels. So that trade is going to be the same as what the S&Ps are. If we kind of gap up here, 73.94 quarters, looking to buy 73, 88, 75s on the first pullback, and that target's going to come in at 74.19 quarter. Now, the only thing that comes into play here today is the fact that risk reward is going to be a little bit different across each one, right? The S&Ps have about a 15-point target. The Nasdaq here has about a 30-point target. So that's about $600 per contract, to whereas the S&P has $750 per contract, 15 points times 50 bucks worth of reward there that is potential. So I'm going to keep an eye more so on that today in terms of risk reward ratio as to which one of the markets I'm going to choose, because I do think they are all most likely going to be moving together, and like I just mentioned, there's no real outliers with that. So and I want to preface this too with the fact that if we do crack under 73, 88, 75s, then I'm not going to be looking for any long side trades, right? If we kind of want to, gap up here, the technical term for this is kind of gap and crap. So if we kind of gap up and then start trading back lower and just kind of have, some mediocre action to the downside, some slop and chop, then I'm not going to be looking to trade that action, especially on a Friday. It is Friday, and typically what ends up happening on Fridays, if you start pressing and you end up with a red day, you'll come back on Monday and it'll fester all weekend in your mind, and you'll come back on Monday and you'll end up pressing again and most likely have back-to-back losing days. And that's not something that I like to do. So I'm going to keep a close eye on risk today and be super patient just for the right trade, much like yesterday. Moving over into the Russell here. Russell is gapping up nicely here. 1556.30s are targets up on the Russell there. And I think that's most likely going to trade here at some point today. The pullback levels here in the Russell are like too far down to even really consider it a viable trade opportunity. So more or less going to be watching the Russell here if it sets up some type of divergence maybe to find an entry into a long, or if it ends up showing like super strength on the day, gets up here to 1556.30s, kind of bases out, and then really gives a solid entry to go higher, then that's something that I would look for on the day as well. And that can kind of lead us up into 1565.70s. So there's still about 9 points worth of room in the Russell to the upside if we kind of get up here. So we'll see how that kind of lines up with the rest of the markets if and when we get up here. But again, the pullbacks here in the Russell are a little bit lower, or lower than I would expect to see us pull back here initially at the open. The one thing I do want to point out though with the Russell compared to the other markets that it has is, so let me actually go back to the Nasdaq here real quick and take a look at just this level that's in place right now in the Nasdaq, 73.57 quarters. which we ended up trading this level in the overnight session. I'm going to go ahead and mark this as yellow. This would be a little bit of a what we need a good name for like a knowledge bomb drop. Somebody come up with a good name. So this would be your technical tip for Friday. I don't know if I like technical tip, but somebody give me a good name for that. Anyways, pay attention to this, right? 73.57 quarter was that hourly resistance that we needed to break through in order to move higher for today, right? We broke through that last night. I was actually sitting at the desk right here. We broke through that range right there is 20 points on that 5-minute bar. Really, really solid. We pull back, we test that 57 quarter. We rally up, we test that 57 quarter. One last time here at 6:30 in the morning, we come down, we trade 57 quarter to the tick, and then literally go straight one tick through to 88.75s. This move, this type of action, one test, two test, three test could have failed, right? Third test of a level, it could have failed and just sent us back lower. But that third test reaction is super, super strong right there. And in the matter of basically 40 minutes there, we went from 57 quarters up to 88.75s. So I say all that to show you what's going on this hourly chart with the Nasdaq, right? Is this morning pivot from yesterday morning, 9:30 to 10:30 pivot there, is at 57 quarters, and we did not get above that at the close yesterday, right? We closed at 52.50s. We couldn't quite get there. Take a look at what happened in the Russell though. The Russell ended up that same level in the Russell from the morning pivot comes in right here at 1538. And check what happens. We rally up, we test it, we pull back. There's a reaction off there. You can see there's a bottoming tail on this hourly chart, triggers what could be a sell setup here. A rally up, flush down, rally back into resistance, trades beneath the prior bar's low, and starts to flush. What ends up happening though is we reverse that bar, trade higher, come back, close, and then on the final little push here at the end of the day, the last 45 minutes of the day, we end up getting a close up above that level. And then we're off to the races and running for today. So there is a little bit of a price structure difference in the Russell compared to the other markets. And that's what it is right there. This move, that's why the Russell here, I think is getting a little bit closer to targets than the rest of the markets, and why, Monday I was looking at this and saying, okay, this has 100 points worth of target up here, somewhere up here in the 1600s, back here when we were down around 1500s on Monday morning. So there's a little knowledge bomb drop for you guys on the closing structure basis of the move that happened yesterday in the Russell. All right, go ahead and clear drawing set in here. We've got 25.875s here, and we are pretty much almost at targets when it comes to the Dow as well. 25.921s would be targets on this move, which is again only about 50 points away from where we're currently trading, 45 points or so. And again, I'm gonna expect that to trade here probably first thing in the morning with the Russell as well, and then at that point probably start basing out and look for higher prices into the rest of the day. The Dow's nice and strong here. I have not checked on, let me see, take a look at Boeing. Have a position on in Boeing. That's gapping up here about $1 there, 375.34 by 375.50s. And then I have a position on in Apple as well that's going to expire today. I need that up over 190. So that is currently 190.06 by 09 ask on Apple there. So gapping up about $1.30, $1.40 in Apple there. So I'm going to look for kind of all these markets to run into play with each other today, and I think should be a very nice looking development here by the end of the day. There's a Kalen saying there's a great fib sequence setting up, regular trading hours only, long in the Dow. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's going to be, like, Perry's got his levels that kind of line up with me and the S&Ps, and most likely we're going to have some fib sequences that end up lining up with levels as well today. But everything so far looks to me like we've got a nice move and nice momentum to keep pushing to the upside. All right, taking a look at gold here. So gold, we got the nice slide to the downside yesterday, and a nice gap up so far this morning that's run about 4 or 5 points here so far at the open. Again, swing basis here. I'm waiting for this trade to set up. And again, this rally here is nothing that I'm too concerned about here. And going to just keep watching this going into next week. It has not set up a swing basis for me just yet here. And again, the targets on this are way down here at kind of 1258, 60. So I got plenty of room to make some money on the downside with this. I just want to wait for the right entry. I don't see anything necessarily to do in there today. If we kind of rally back up towards this opening print from yesterday there, 1308.70s, we could see how it reacts at that point. But otherwise, I don't really think there's a good day trade opportunity in the gold markets so far. If something else sets up throughout the day, it starts showing some weakness or whatever, then we may be able to have some type of opportunity in there, but nothing that I see at the moment. I think the better trade in there is to be patient and wait for the swing. Is kind of my thoughts on that. We had a nice move in crude oil here, so taking a look at crude, looking for potential day trades here as well. So 60.32s. Is the pullback level here in crude oil. If we crack 60.32s, then we've got some room kind of back down here right into 60.02. This is what I was actually watching this morning and what almost took me into a trade here this morning in crude oil is right as we were coming up to those 60.02s, right? So I saw this push here right up into almost 60.02s, got 60.01s, small pullback there back under 60s, and then started to break out. So I was watching this development here this morning, and I'm thinking, okay, should we step into crude oil to the long side, targets at 60.32s, and then targets up here towards 60.97s, and I did not pull the trigger on that. But I'm going to be watching it today for a pullback here into kind of 60.32s, and I want to see how that trades to that level, what the reactions are off of that level, and then also kind of where the rest of the markets, more specifically the Russell, is sitting in and when or if that actually trades in the crude oil markets here. So going to be paying attention to that as well. Van Zandt, watch BA last 3 days have had a nice gap up that opened at highs and sold. If we can take out the opening highs, then we might have a change of setup. Yeah, so I mean the trade that I have on in Boeing has 20 days to go on the option side, and break even on that trade is like 374.99, and upside profits takes me upside profits all the way up into like 382.50s, the way that I structured that one. So it's a long-term swing trade there in Boeing, and I think it's had a really nice price action down here. Like I said, in this pattern that's set up down here, kind of right into the gap fill, right into a rising 200 SMA, one failure to go lower right there, a second little failure to go lower back here the 22nd, so just 7 days ago there, and then so far higher highs, higher lows coming out of Boeing there. And I think that's going to lead us back up in towards 400 there. So that's what I'm looking for there. Someone brought up Lyft. I guess Lyft went IPO yesterday, maybe, or today. I don't know. Is it LYFT? Looks like it, but it's not loading. I don't know. Anybody know what the scoop is on Lyft? Take a look here. Opening today. Looks like IPO is priced at 72 per share, according to what I'm seeing here. I mean, so there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing obviously there yet. You can see it's just waiting for data. Um, this one might be kind of fun to watch at the open. I mean, if you're looking to trade lift today, I mean, I wouldn't personally. Um, I think maybe Facebook is the only company I think I've traded on an IPO day. But yeah, I mean, there's no data, there's no past data, like, there's nothing to pull on the charts from. Like, it opens up and it's just like a blank slate. And I mean, it is obviously the first. I mean, Uber hasn't IPO'd yet that I know of, unless somehow I missed that. So it is going to be kind of the first in that space. So there could be some volatility. I mean, there's obviously going to be some volatility in there today, but whether it's good or bad volatility, I don't necessarily know just yet. And looks like Nasdaq just put in new highs here in pre-market sessions there. Yeah, Lou, so could you talk about how you place trades on Nadex with level to level and divergence? It would help to have you walk through, or help to have you talk through it. Just got in, so not sure if you hit it already. So I mean, I haven't touched on it yet here today. If we find some time today, what I'll do is, if we see any divergences or things like that, I'll kind of pull up Nadex in conjunction with what I'm looking for in the markets, and kind of talk through some of that. And that's going to be some of the stuff that I have coming out here with a new Nadex course on the way that I trade Nadex with level to level and both divergences. So looking to get that stuff released here in April. So, but yeah, I'll talk through some of that. It's pretty much going to be the same thinking and the same methodologies that I use when analyzing the chart for just the futures market, because you're trading the options on the futures. But there's a couple little like nuances, some things that you can do, different strikes that you can take to kind of have like what I call targeting trades, or to have kind of like directional trades. So trying to fine tune the names and kind of make the criteria and everything really easy to understand. But yeah, that's going to be coming out here hopefully very soon. So I will definitely try and touch on that today. I feel like I'm limited on screen space. I got rid of 2 monitors and added 1 back, and I may feel like I need to maybe add 1 more back to kind of put some other things on that aren't on my main screen here. So, but yeah, we'll run through that today. If you guys we got a couple more minutes here. If you guys have any other symbols you want me to take a look at, feel free to go ahead and drop those in the chat, and I will take a look at those. If not, at about 9:25, I'll go ahead and kill the stream and get ready for the morning power hour with everybody that is in the Discord. And I got some of the new stuff in today, so I'm going to mess with that here in a bit. For the screen share. Oh, and if you guys are listening in and you're not a part of the Discord, you can click the first link in the description below, and it's going to say something like, actually it'll say join the Major League Trading Discord, and give you guys a link right there to do so. Aussie CAD. This is coming down to a nice potential buy setup on the daily chart. Looks a little sloppy here on the hourly chart. It's kind of breaking, this support area that we're currently trading, kind of right underneath that 0.94823 there. Otherwise, I would look for this to kind of push down here a little bit more, find some footing on an hourly chart, and then once it rallies back up, and the first pullback there, I think is going to be good for a multi-day swing there. just based on where this kind of daily chart's pulling back to. It's not the cleanest of clean setups I've ever seen before, but I don't necessarily dislike that chart at all. All right, anyways, that's what I got for you guys so far here this morning. I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream. I'll be back in just a few minutes with everyone that is in the MLT Discord for 1 hour, sometimes a little bit more if you guys are lucky, of live trading with me each and every single day. Again, if you're not part of the Discord, it's going to be that first link in the description below. It literally says join the Major League Trading Discord and gives you guys a link. So click that link if you're new around here. Also, if you enjoyed this content, give me a thumbs up. And hit that subscribe button with the little bell, and I'll let you guys know each and every morning when I go live at 9 o'clock Eastern to do my morning trade plan with each and every one of you guys. Take care. It is Friday. Enjoy your weekends, and I'll see you guys on Monday.